Okay. Hello, everyone. And I probably shouldn't be showing that to anyone. And I have my friend Aaron here in case you see me doing something like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or pulling out shotgun that I don't actually have right here. And I probably should put that middle thing down because my mic can actually pick up the tinging sounds because I had a video like that. Hey. Okay, so with that out of the way, we're going to do the top 10 best RPGs that I feel that will not given recognition out of games I've beaten. Again, it is games I've beaten, not out of our entire collection. But this is unbeaten stuff. This ain't counting. So, top 10 best RPGs that I feel that do not get any real recognition. Before we go on, Mother series and Legend of Dragoon are on here. Mother series, I feel, gets tons of recognition at this point in time. Just when it came out, nobody knew about it. There was only a few people in that. But this day and age, I mean, come on. My friend who never even played any of the game know all about 3 of them in that. And, like, most of these lists always have Earthbound or one of the Mother games on it. So, I'd say it's pretty recognized. Legend of Dragoon, be honest, is more iffier there, but I still see it on a lot of lists like this, so I thought I'd bypass it for opportunity to perhaps show something else. So, it's not that those games weren't good or anything, it's just, I feel they get a little more recognition than the stuff I picked. You unhappy? You shut up, and stop complaining about Atlas games not being on here except for one, and let's go on. So the first thing I want to pick is probably the only real iffy thing for most people would be the 4 Saga game, which came out in America as the Final Fantasy Legend. And if I remember correctly, this came out as like, no wait, I'm trying to remember what happened with PAL. I remember one of the Game Boy games was called Final Fantasy Mystic in PAL. And they had like a different title for the actual Mystic Quest for the Super Nintendo or something, but I don't remember all that. But this is a very interesting game. It was obviously the beginning of the Saga game. It was the next continuation of the original Final Fantasy II. I remember it being very bizarre and shit, and I always thought the end was very weird, getting near the supposed paradise at the top and not really spoiling what you find up there. But I did find the interesting sequence that's before it, where you find a family that's like dead with a bazooka, and I was curious about what was their fate. What were they doing? Were they winning? Were they trying to get to paradise? Were they killed by the brutal monsters? But yeah, pretty cheap. Don't really see a lot of people ever talk about a lot of the Saga games in America, you know. Pretty unappreciated series in America, so 4 Saga game. Next game, Sweet Home. Weren't you kind of interested in Sweet Home, Aaron? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think it's getting a lot more recognition because the Happy Video Game Nerd are doing a video of it. But I still think it's something that a lot of people don't really talk about. I really like Sweet Home. I really like the idea of survival horror with RPG. And this is bare bone RPG elements. Not anything really unique. Yeah, I know, I agree. He said he thinks it would make an awesome co-op game. And I actually had an idea, like, they should do, like, a spiritual sequel of this on, like, the DS. And have, like, an online mode where you, like, each control a unique killer with an item or something, like, online or wirelessly or that. I mean, I think it would be an awesome idea. But I think its biggest shame is Capcom would never go back to this idea, period. Seriously. What the hell? But it's an awesome game to look up. I would definitely check out the Happy Video Games Nerds review if you want a really in-depth, flashy history of it. Very interesting. Shining in the Darkness. The very first Shining game. Very first RPG I've played, even though sometimes I'll say Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV was the first RPG I enjoyed playing. I did not enjoy Darkness when I first played it because it's not a beginner's RPG. It's a fucking really hard RPG. At least for when you're a kid and the only thing you've played was just, random platformers, and you had no experience in RPGs whatsoever, so this is definitely not a beginner RPG. But as I actually got into it, because, Final Fantasy IV for America was actually made easier in America, so when it was released as 2 on the Super Nintendo, so it is kind of a beginner's version. But after getting into RPGs, I picked this up again because I have for a long time, and actually started liking it. It became a really memorable game. But in the series, a lot of people usually only go to the Shining Force series, which is a tactical series, which would be in that area there. But a lot of people don't think about the Darkness one. So, but I really liked it. So, a controversial game, Secret of Evermore. This and Super Mario RPG, Legend of 7 Stars, are blamed for the next game I'm going to talk about for not being released in America. But regardless whether that is true or not, Secret of Evermore is a really good game. It was the only Squaresoft game produced by an American team, and its only real blemish is, why is it not 2-player? It has 2 characters. It was designed in a system that could have had 2 players. I mean, whether they... I always know there was the controversial thing, whether the system was built for the ground up, or if it was just literally stolen from Secret of Mana, because it looks exactly like that. I've always heard 2 different things there, so, regardless of which one they did, it could have been 2-player, but they didn't do 2-player. But aside from that, very interesting game, very bizarre, and very Americanized. And definitely something to check out. A lot of people don't usually talk about it. You can always check out 16-Bit Gems if you want to see a video of that. Though a few things I disagreed on that. But, opinions. Not anything to get all torches and pitchforks. Please insert torch and pitchfork here in your imagery of this video. And, go and slaughter people. It's just an opinion. I hate you. So, our next game, the Third Mana game, which I played, actually, with Aaron. A lot of people always loved the second, Secret of Mana, but I really liked the third more, because the stick design of the art of the sprites in the second game, I didn't like them very much. They looked weird to me, but I really loved the sprite, how they look in the third one. Let alone, I felt it was a more upgrade of the original concept of the gameplay. You had 6 characters you could choose from. You had different variety, and then what? Shut up. You're just smoking over there. Then they all had job classes. How many did they have? I think they each had 3 each. I can't really remember. It's been a while. Yeah, actually, yeah. I think, yeah, they did. He said they upgraded to, they had 1 branch, and then that branch had another branch of 3. I think it was something like that, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, this was the one with, Dario the night guy, and the little sprite dude, and you had the magic chick, and yeah, you can see him, you remember them, and the tiger dude. I liked playing as the tiger dude. I think if you liked the Hawkeye, the thief dude, if you remember, yeah, go ahead and see that if you're having trouble remembering now. And you have 3 main storylines. 3... Going to look at the booklet, sure. Just be careful with it. You had 3 storylines, each with a unique boss, so you had different ways to split your party up with the 6 characters. The main storyline varied on who you picked as your main, and 2 were attached to every of the 3 ones. So you had 3 times you could play it for a different storyline, different boss experiences, and then you have all the weird job classes and everything. Huh. You are white. It shows a Y in the book. See? You see a chart there. I'm not sure if you can see it too well on the bottom of the characters right there. You see the 1 class, then you see the 2, and then you see the 3 split. So, yeah. You can go ahead and put that back in there. Thank you. But yeah, I really felt it was a big old upgrade. I'm not saying Secret Man was bad. It's a good game, but the artwork did kind of it just was, kind of like Spoonie said, with Final Fantasy IX, you have play a game and it's like, I should like this, but there's just something weird about the art design. But Secret Man is a good game too. I played half that with you, if I remember correctly, and then I had to finish the end because you were busy with other stuff or something. But I really like the third one more than the second, but they're both good games. But I feel the second one is like Mario, and the third one's like Luigi in the shadow all the time. Bad comparison. I don't know. Stop smoking. Now, you shouldn't be surprised about this. I really think this game was way overlooked in America. Half a Minute Hero, or the 30-second Hero, or however you want to pronounce it, or the really, really bizarre Japanese title, which I can't even remember. It's not a full RPG. The hero mode and the end is RPG, and it has 3 additional modes that are in between it. But its main focus is on the RPG element, and its sequel is being a pure RPG, so obviously they're going to focus more on that. And still no word on the sequel coming to America, which makes Joshy really saddy. But I must push on. Or import it. Importing sounds good. But this is an excellent game. It's really fast, quick, simple, and it's not really hard to understand. It's very time management, and it's silly, it's funny, it's ridiculously funny, and I love the end. I love the end, how it's like everything's so corny, and then in the final battle, there's this huge epic song playing, but it's all so fucking corny in a way. So that's definitely an excellent game to check out, and it's pretty inexpensive the last time I saw it on the shelves. So now, let's see, what should I go with? I think I'll go with the PS1 stuff first here. So, first one, we're going to pull up randomly Legend of, how do you pronounce that exactly? Legaia? There, I got my pronunciation guy. Now, we might have some better pronunciations of some things. This was an interesting game, because I don't know any other game before this one that had the interesting idea of pitting basic fighting moves, punching and kicking and stuff, and then combining those like a fighter game to create special moves in an RPG turn-based style. Very weird. And then they had these weird things on their arms that could absorb certain monsters and make them into summons. But it was only a special breed, not like any monster in the world. There was only this special breed. You had to be careful because only a few of them were located in certain areas, so you could actually finish area, get the mist to go away, and that species gone forever, missed out. And there's a few useful ones like that you can totally fucking miss. So you always want to get every single one because it sucks. It's like, oh, this one could be totally useful. And I remember the end of this game being really freaking hard. And I was still kind of newish to a lot of Japanese RPGs with this one. And, of course, it being different from a normal RPG to begin with. But I remember the end being really freaking hard. It did have kind of a multi-ending thing, but it was mainly because there was one choice that kind of affected. In the actual ending, you could choose what you wanted to do, and it just kind of affected the ending a bit. But not in a huge way. I do have the sequel to this game. I only played a little of it. It never really caught. Yeah, it did have a sequel. It's on the PS2. I don't think I have its original case. I think it's in one of those slim cases. But the sequel did not really. It didn't really grasp me into this storyline. So. I always consider the beginning of RPG really important, because if it can't pull you in and keep you dragging into the game, then it just kind of loses you to other ones that can. So it didn't really. But it's something I want to give another try, though. But this is definitely a very memorable game. So moving on, I think we'll skip that one and go to this one. The only Atlas title I got here, and he loves it, and have you checked this recently online? I haven't. I remember the last time it was $200 on Amazon. It was ridiculous. it was like $90 the last time you looked. Yeah, this game's expensive. I don't know if it's still expensive, but it was every time I ever looked. I was so lucky to actually get this for like $15 or something. I don't really remember. I don't have the original sticker on it. It has the sticker on the back. See, and I'm pretty sure I got it from GameStop, oddly enough, a long, long time ago. It looks like a GameStop sticker. I can't really remember 100%. I think I got this in RPG Maker on the PS1 at the same time at GameStop up in the mall in Springfield when my parents went up there to get one of my pair's glasses. But this is a tactics game, and it's probably one of the more interesting ones because it adds a lot of replay value because you have basically this large territory and multiple leaders. I can't remember how many. I just remember the real bad guys were in the middle and the two noobish people were in the... Okay, he claims there was... Yeah, the Empire, yeah. Okay, he thinks there were 6 in total, and that's including the secret that you could enter a combination to play as the Empire in the middle, and that, in my opinion, is ultra fucking hard mode, because you are literally surrounded by everyone. As opposed to, like, all the side countries, the beginner and easy mode are teamed up with each other, so, you know, they have the whole lower left side covered, and they'll helping each other's territory, and all the other countries are all out for themselves. But they're mainly like I remember the northern people had 2 mountain regions protecting, and you couldn't go through the middle. But yeah, but I think he was, but he only had like 2 real interests to the like original country, I believe. I don't remember what is it. This is really long time ago. I did not get this game like it was still the PS1 era when I was playing this thing. I think you played it a little during the PS2 era, I think, but I played this back with the PS1. There was no PS2. This wasn't like a old picker. I did get used, but it's a really fun game. There are a lot of characters to recruit in it, and that adds a lot of variety when you destroy one of the powers. All the recruited characters become free, and you can get some of them and that. And then you also have like a mana resource to use to create monsters. And I couldn't remember exactly how you got new monsters you could make. I thought you had to kill them, I think. Yeah, that might have been it. He thinks he had to catch someone in case he can't hear him. He said you had to get someone's cities that gave you the ability, and I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure his memory is just as foggy. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember that weird French clown freak with the scythe. I remember though you had to do something unique to get his dragon, because it was the only fucking dragon. Actually, was there like a capsule feature maybe? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that's right. When you kill the general, you can capture a monster. I think that was made true. I don't know. That's a little iffy, but this is definitely a game to check out if you find it for a good price. If you feel like shelling out our money, yeah, that's your call there. I very rarely shell out a lot of money for games. I remember what was his name? Pete. I told you about him once. He just does nothing but shows off his games. I remember Pete paid a lot of money for just an old Game Boy original game because it's really freaking rare in America, and even in Japan, its Japan version is really rare. I can't remember what. It looked like an interesting platform though. Yeah. Now we got 2 more. Now, some people might argue whether or not Breath of Fire 3 deserves to be on here. In the Breath of Fire series, most would probably say it's considered the best in the series. But I think a lot of the Breath of Fire in general is pretty looked at, especially since Capcom basically threw it out the window. It's like, well, this franchise is dead. on to build things. What about that next Street Fighter game? Any ideas? Super Turbo Export Mega Edition? Sounds good. Get on that. But anyway, I think most people would agree that 3 is probably one of the best ones in its overall series. 4 is pretty iffy with most of the fans, and 5, you're basically lucky. You're basically lucky if anyone actually, he basically just went, yes, 5 is pretty terrorizingly horrible. I think it's interesting, but still generally in a bad way, but I can be more forgiving for trying to experiment. But of course, then if you remember my general rule, if it's a side game, it's okay to experiment a lot. When you make it a number, which in Japan it is. In Japan, the 5th game is number 5. In America, they made it out as a side game. So take that as you will. But Breath of Fire 3, we're losing track of what we're trying to focus on here. Focus! Okay. Breath of Fire 3. Excellent game. I remember it being a wonderful 2D adventure with 3D environments. The whole dragon DNA combination thing for different dragon forms was probably the best dragon system in the series. Because in 4, if I remember correctly, you just collected different forms you could change it to. And, I believe in 1 you just changed into one dragon, and 2 I think there were a few forms. I can't remember. Long days gone, but definitely something to look forward. And it is on the PSP, but not in America. You can get a Japanese version on PSP. I do not know the value of Breath of Fire 3 on the internet. It's probably not a lot, but it could be maybe $20 or so. I mean, I know a lot of PS1 RPGs usually sell for a decent amount compared to a lot of the more modern stuff usually does. And then our final game. I would dare make the claim that this is the Earthbound of the PS2 shop. The Earthbound of the PS2. And I know some people are going to probably really disagree with that, but I really have fond memories of this bizarre game. I like its Japanese title, Me in My Shadow, Demon King Shadow, or something like that. I thought it was kind of a silly title to go with the absolute silly craziness. I will never remember this game for its combat. I will always remember it for the strangest, thought-provoking story. And that's probably because I just thought way too much into it. But to be honest, when I thought about a lot of the story, it actually did make me think very thought-provokingly about certain elements in the storyline. The RPG elements are pretty basic. They're not really unique at all. They're pretty basic. And this is one of the unfortunate titles I did mention to Aaron in one of the co-op things we did, that stars the unique thing that if the main character dies, it's game over. But yeah, this game suffers that problem just like Persona 3, 4, and Final Fantasy 13, and anything else you can think of. I'm sure there's more out there. It's not as rare as some people think it is, but it definitely is kind of uncommon. The story is basically, you're just a normal kid in society, and all of a sudden, you get a cursed shadow. Your shadow is literally a demon king who wants to destroy the world. And you go on an insane journey with him, and you meet a really colorful, bizarre cast of characters and that. It's really a unique, quirky game, just like Earthbound was. The dialogue, I love the dialogue in the game. It's just delightfully funny and everything, and I really I actually like a lot of the music in this too. La 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 la, probably butchering the tune. It actually had a really nice credit theme too. But this is a very cheap game, and there's no excuse money-wise to not try it, at least. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely a game I feel a lot of people never talk about. Now, Okage? You don't know? Well, that's Okage. I've always tried to find the white, because I don't know anyone who knows the Quake. That's why I like the Japanese ones, like me and my Demon King Shadow, because I just felt me. But Okage Shadow King. It was published by Sony for America. Now there is one that, if you ever played the 7th Saga, this suffered 7th Saga logic. 7th Saga was an easy game in Japan, but for some reason, the opposite reason of, like, Will Battletoads, like, hey, let's make Battletoads bullshit hard in America and leave the Japanese version simple. 7th Saga was made fucking harder and forced you to grind a lot more. And sadly, the American version of this game suffers that same problem. They buffed up monsters and stuff more. So, you do have to grind a little more than you would normally do in the Japanese version. So, it's kind of going to be a hit and miss with you. But I would definitely say look it up. It's really cheap. It's definitely something I think is way overlooked. And again, I dare call it the Earthbound of the PS2. Shut up. I know, shut up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you get to see a few interesting games you might look up. And best of all, I hope you enjoy them if you go and check them out. Until next time, dear viewer.